Hello Science Lines, hello, I am Lara, this is Theatre of Science. I stream free live lessons to home educators. I've been doing it for 5.5 years. I'm actually trained to teach physics to A level. So I do stream lessons, IGCSE physics lessons, all ages lessons. There are optional printouts, I exercise your brain, I ask you questions. This isn't that. You have found the science show that I do, like the Lego story show. This is the one where I wear a silly costume, we do an activity, I tell you about a thing that you wanted me to learn about, and then we do a story with Lego at the end. Today, I am obviously dressed as a cow's pancreas, for reasons which will become totally obvious by the end of the show. And you wanted me to talk about diabetes. So this has been a really good one for me because I didn't know anything about diabetes. You lot had a lot of opinions and about what you wanted me to say. So if I don't cover everything, I'm sorry, okay? That's all I've got. I'm sorry. You can always email me, can't you, if you've got any complaints. Right. I'm going to do what I don't normally do. I'm going to show you what we're going to talk about before I talk about it. I know, it's almost like there's some kind of structure, isn't there? I'm going to give you a short lecture. It's a rant, okay, about healthy eating. We're going to do the activity and then we're going to talk about what is diabetes, what are the signs of diabetes, how do you treat it, talk a bit about type 2 diabetes, and then we'll do the story, okay? Right, let's go. So, you have to eat food and you have to breathe oxygen. You probably know this. You might not know exactly why. So, we have to eat food for all different kinds of reasons, right? We have to eat iron, for example. You might have heard you need iron in your diet. Iron is what oxygen attaches to so that it can be carried all around your blood. You need to eat stuff like vitamin C because it helps your wounds to heal. And you need to eat stuff called carbohydrates because it gives you energy. You need energy all of the time, even now, even if you just sit really still. Just take a deep breath, totally relax. You still need energy. Your brain cells are buzzing, your body has got to keep itself warm, your heart's got to keep beating. So we constantly need energy, and that energy comes from the carbohydrates in our food, all right? There's different types of carbohydrates. There are simple carbohydrates and complex carbohydrates. You might have heard of these. Simple carbohydrates are basically just sugar particles. The posh word for sugar is glucose. So simple carbohydrates, just sugar. Complex carbohydrates are sugar, but it's all joined up together. Like starch is the name of this, really. Chains of sugars. This is the one that's better for you because it takes a little bit more effort for your body to break it down. Carbohydrates are best eaten with fibre. This is where I get a little bit ranty because there's loads of misinformation about this. So fibre's really good, you might have heard of it. It slows your digestion down, it fills you up so you're not hungry 5 seconds later. Nature has just naturally put fibre and sugar together for us. So you might have heard that apples are sugary, they are, but they've also got loads of fibre in them and loads of other nutrients as well. And you can't eat the sugar without eating the fibre. It's all kind of locked up together. So you can eat really as much of this sugar as you like because you are going to get quite full because of all the fibre in the apple, right? You couldn't eat, could you? Don't try it, don't prove me wrong. You couldn't eat like 20 apples. You'd get bored because you're not just eating sugar, you're eating fibre, which takes a long time to sort of chew and digest, and it fills you up, okay? So nature has put fibre and sugar together for us, but humans keep taking the fibre out because fibre's just loads of effort, isn't it? So apple juice is still good for you because it has got lots of nutrients in, but it's got sugar in it, but you don't have the fibre in the apple juice. It's like apples without the fibre. So you shouldn't eat too much of what this called this free sugar. You could drink a lot more apple juice, can't you, than you can eat apples, and it's because it's much easier to do. So humans are constant, but I should say, yeah, it's still got nutrients in, so it's better for you than a fizzy drink. But an apple is better for you than apple juice, if you see what I mean, because of the fibre. And humans just keep doing this. We keep taking food that's got fibre in it, like brown bread, and taking the fibre out because fibre's no fun, and turning it into something which is, you sort of don't think of bread as being sugar, but it is carbohydrate. So our body, when it breaks down bread, it just ends up with sugar. So this is where I get a little bit ranty. If, for example, you were to take a load of apples and a tiny bit of strawberry and mush it all up and then sort of remove the fibre and stretch it all out and dry it and then roll it up so that it resembled some sort of child's toy, and then put like a picture of a cute animal on and sold it for a lot of money and said, oh, it's okay because it's only got fruit sugar in it, that would be a little bit misleading, because in, say, some sort of fruit roll-up thing that children eat, you've got rid of the fibre. So you've still got some nutrients in it, but your body doesn't know the difference between the fruit sugar that is in the fruit roll-up and just white sugar, because it's still free sugar. It's sugar without the fibre. Is that all right? Is that enough ranting? Shall we move on? Do you get what I mean? I feel like there's a lot of people making a lot of money selling food to kids and parents saying, oh, it's fruit, it's fruit. And it's like, oh, it's not quite fruit. You've made it easier to digest, so it's not as good for you. Anyway, moving on. Right, the complex carbohydrates are the ones that are good for us, because, yeah, your body breaks them down into tiny little sugar particles, but it takes longer to do that. And like I say, fiber's good for you. So potatoes with their skins, that's complex carbohydrates. Whole grains, fruit and veg, the brown rice, just the brown stuff basically, you know, the stuff that we don't eat because it's tedious. So the sugar ends up in our blood. I always figured that blood sugar was some very sort of complicated biology thing. No, blood sugar just means the sugar that is in your blood. So we put sugar or carbohydrates into our mouths, our body breaks it down into tiny little particles of sugar, and it ends up in our blood. What does our body do with that? Well, shall we do the activity and find out? Yeah, like I say, what we're going to do is make a sourdough starter. So apologies, you're supposed to then like look after this for weeks and weeks, and you will have an amazing thing that you can make bread with. If the adults in your house didn't want you to do that, sorry, you can maybe turn this into Play-Doh afterwards. But all you do is you basically just mix flour and water. Don't do it yet because I'll show you the right amounts, okay? So I'm using white flour. I have used some brown flour as well that I'll show you, but I don't know, I've already done 2 browns, so I'm going to do 2 whites as well. So flour is a carbohydrate, yeah? You wouldn't think of it, but like I say, it's chains of sugar joined up together. Flour doesn't really go mouldy because flour is very dry, and bacteria and yeast, which makes things go mouldy, they really like moisture and they like sugar together. So what we're going to do is mix together this sugar and the moisture to please the yeast that are all around us. So you need equal amounts of sugar and of water and flour, and you just need to mix them together in a bowl. But I'm going to show you first of all what it looks like so that you can eyeball it, because I've got posh scales, but I thought you might not have posh scales. So I'm going to do 100 grams. I think you can just find the recipe on the internet. If you want to carry this on after the show, you totally can by just looking up sourdough starter. But I think most of the recipes say to use 120 grams. I'm just using 100 grams because that's what fits perfectly into my cup. So if you brought a cup with you, it depends how big the cup is. You might want to just fill it up to the top with flour. For me, oh no, look, that's more this time. Oh, that's interesting. That's because I'm using white and not brown. Okay, so, well, that works out quite nicely. So for me, a full cup of flour is about 120 grams. So you put that into the bowl like that. And now I need 120 grams of water to match, but look how far it goes up the mug. It's not going to go right up to the top again because the particles in water and the particles of flour are arranged differently. So if I pour, I'm doing this so that you can know if you fill your mug with flour how much water you need to use. There you go. So if you've got a mug in front of you but you don't have fancy scales like this, if you do a whole mug full of flour and then do about half a mug of water, I think that should be just about right. Okay, so here's how you make your sourdough starter. You just get a mug of flour and half a mug of water basically, and you just mix them together. And that's basically it. So what is happening is, should I just do it for good telly reasons? Just mix it in, yeah. So what we're doing is we're basically making particles of sugar wet, and this is really going to please the yeast and the bacteria that is all around us. Okay, flipping you around. Oh no, I think I just wiped my nose and smeared all blue all over my face. Oh That's so gross. I forgot. Wait, I'll get some tissue. So yeah, what happens is there are, as I'm demonstrating by having a cold, but it's not necessarily like, there's all different kinds of bacteria in yeast, and it's not all good and it's not all bad. There's yeast, tiny little. We looked at this when we looked at when we did a whole lesson on mycology and fungus and mold. They're just like one cell big. There are yeast particles all over the place. So usually if you make bread, you would just buy yeast from the supermarket and mix it with flour and water and sugar and salt, and then it rises up really quickly. But there is wild yeast everywhere. It's in the flour, but it's also on your skin, it's on your spoon, it's in your bowl. So when you make flour wet, you're making it fabulous conditions for yeast to thrive. So straight away, even now as you're stirring together your flour and your water, these invisible, like, wild yeast are starting to not eat it, but what they're doing is they are taking in oxygen and they are using the sugar from the flour, and they're using that to live, basically, and they're giving off carbon dioxide. Does that sound familiar? Can you think of anything else that takes in oxygen and reacts the oxygen with sugar in order to release energy and live, and gives off carbon dioxide? Oh, gasp, chums, we do it, don't we? We do. It's called respiration. So the way that yeast does it is sort of slightly different to us a lot of the time. When we respire, respiring is just oxygen and sugar in your body reacting together to release energy. That's why you breathe in oxygen, because your body stores all this sugar in different little cells all over your body, and your oxygen goes around the body and reacts with the tiny little sugar particles, releases energy. Doing it right now for your brain to work and your body to stay warm and all the things that you need to do to survive. Shall I show you? So this isn't a lesson about sourdough bread, but the idea is that you put a plate on that and leave it and yet let the wild yeast do its work. And then the next day you just stir it. The day after that, you have to take half of it away, which seems really cool, but you take a load of it away and top it up with fresh water and fresh flour. And then the next day you do the same, take some away and top it up. And eventually, after like 7 or 10 days, you will have this absolutely gorgeous, like, bubbling pot of yeast that is really going for it. You're supposed to feed it, like top it up at the same time every day to get the yeast into a habit, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I made one yesterday when I taught this lesson on Facebook. So it's a bit boring, this one. I used brown flour, and the step on day 2 is to just stir it. So I'm going to stir it. Sorry about the noise. So yeah, yeast give off oxygen when they respire. Sorry, not oxygen, alcohol when they respire. You don't taste it in the bread, because when you bake your bread, then all the alcohol, like, evaporates off. But you will, after 7 days or so, be able to mix a bit of your sourdough starter with flour and salt and sugar and make it into bread if you want. You don't need any yeast from the supermarket. This is the one I'm excited to show you, because this was made 2 days ago. I made two days ago, one white and one brown. And you can really see the bubbles coming off. You can really see the carbon dioxide coming to the surface, and it's it still smells a bit floury. In a couple of days, this is going to smell, you'll be able to smell the alcohol on it. There you go. So, can you see that? It looks like just air bubbles, but that's carbon dioxide. Where's my spoon? And then I promise you I will talk about diabetes after this. So can you see it's a totally different texture, isn't it? That's the one that I've just made. And this is the one that is 2 days old. You can tell there's something going on in there. It's all slimy. It's really starting to feel really pleasant. So I will top that up later. I won't do that now, because we really should get on with talking about diabetes. But go on, my little pets. Keep going. I'll feed you after this lesson, I promise. Same to you guys. Oh, nice. Anyway, right, okay. So where are we going? Right, yeah. So sugar doesn't get into our cells without help, okay? Are you with me? Because we're getting to the diabetes bit now. So you're taking carbohydrates, your body breaks them down into sugar particles, the sugars get stored in your cells, you breathe in oxygen, they react together, release energy, brilliant. But yeah, sugar doesn't just slip into your cells unassisted, it needs some help. Here we go. Took me ages, this PowerPoint. I thought this would help. So here's a little glucose particle, right? The sugar travelling in your blood. Yeah, the little blood cell car. Yeah, totally worth the time, wasn't it? Here's the muscle cell. The sugar just can't get into the muscle cell without a key. So the pancreas, which is this kind of gorgeous yellow leaf-shaped organ in your body here, the pancreas detects sugar in the blood. Say just after you've eaten some food, it notices that there's been like a spike in your blood sugar, and it makes a chemical called insulin. Here is a nicer diagram. You can see where my costume's coming from now, right? This is a nicer diagram for pancreas. It's actually inside the pancreas is these little cells called beta cells that make this chemical called insulin. And insulin is the key. So insulin travels with blood sugar, with glucose in the blood, and it lets the sugar into the cells. Like the muscle cell is sort of like a door. Insulin is the key, and it opens the door so that the glucose can get in. Yay! Amazing. And this is just happening naturally in your body right now. If you're anything like me, you just never think about this stuff. This is just, it's incredible. This is happening right now. You eat something, you get more sugar in your blood, your pancreas detects that there's more sugar in your blood, so it releases more insulin, and then if you're not eating, then there's just a kind of steady drip, drip, drip of insulin. It's ridiculously amazing that that is happening. So if you have type 1 diabetes, your pancreas can't make insulin. I'll tell you why. Your pancreas can't make insulin because your immune system is basically making a mistake. So your body's immune system, you know, the white blood cells that kill germs to make you healthy and safe. I'll just plug my computer in, don't worry about that. It actually makes a mistake and it kills the beta cells which make the insulin. So your body can't make insulin because the cells that make the insulin have been destroyed by your own immune system. So what does this mean? Well, there we go. It's an autoimmune disease, right? And this is the thing that people with type 1 diabetes really wanted me to tell you. It's nothing to do with the food that you eat. So it's an autoimmune disease, like any other disease. It's not because like you've got type 1 diabetes because you've eaten unhealthy food or you haven't done enough exercise or anything like that. So most children who have diabetes have been born with type 1 diabetes, it's called. It's sort of genetic, like it is genetic, but stuff can trigger it. So you're like born at a higher risk of getting type 1 diabetes, but then maybe something in your surroundings kicks it off. Like apparently more people develop type 1 diabetes when it's very cold, so more people develop it in the winter than in the summer, or if you get a certain kind of virus that might sort of trigger type 1 diabetes. So there are people that are more likely to get it, but not everyone who is likely to get it actually develops it, if you know what I mean. So that's why someone could be born with a high risk of it, and when they're like 8, I don't know, they just happen to catch a certain kind of virus and that kicks it off. So with no insulin, your body, it can't get sugar into the cells, right? Here's a picture of how that looks. You're welcome. Here's a bit of particle of sugar arriving at the muscle cell, but there's no key, there's no insulin, so the sugar can't get in. And that's why a symptom of type 1 diabetes, if you're not treating it, is feeling really tired all the time, because your body is really struggling to get energy because the sugar can't get into the cells and react with the oxygen and release energy, which is what it's supposed to do. Just subtly grabbing a bit of Lego to prop you up with. So because it can't get into the cells, sugar builds up and up in the blood. Oh, Lara, I just can't picture what that looks like. It's okay, chums. Here you are. So we've got muscle cells with the doors all locked because there's no insulin to open the door. And you've got sugar building up in the bloods. So the body tries to help by making you wee out the glucose. We did a whole module of lessons in the All Ages series on the human body. It feels like really recently. I think it was a couple of years ago now. we looked at how the kidneys work. So if you came to that lesson, you might remember this. I really love this one. We sort of drew a picture of a kidney and we stuck like bits of herb and cereal to it to explain what happened. But yeah, your kidneys remove sugar from your blood, and well, usually it goes back into your blood. But if you've got diabetes type 1 and you're not treating it, your body will try and pull the sugar out of your blood and wee it out. But you'll also end up losing a lot of water. So that's why one of the symptoms of diabetes type 1 is needing to wee a lot, and also feeling really thirsty because you're weeing out a load of water as well. Remember that yeast and bacteria like wetness and sugar? So if your wee is full of sugar, obviously it is wet. So you're more likely to get an infection. There's going to be bacteria growing around where you wee. And also your blood is going to have more sugar in it. So wounds might take a lot longer to heal as well, because you've got more bacteria around your wound because your blood is sugary and wet. Apparently glucose, like the extra sugar, can build up in your eye and make your vision blurry. And also people who've got type 1 diabetes not treating it can suffer weight loss as well, because your body has to get energy from somewhere. So these are all the symptoms. This is what to watch out for, I suppose. If you're feeling poorly and you're not sure what it is, check those symptoms and see if it's type 1 diabetes. Let's have a little look at how to treat it, because this is absolutely fascinating. Thank you, NHS. I'm just going to show you what the NHS says. National Health Service in Britain. If you have type 1 diabetes, you will need to check your blood glucose, that's sugar, regularly. Check how much carbohydrate is in your food and drink. That's called carb counting. Take insulin several times a day. Watch out for signs of hypoglycemia, which is like a hypo, and know how to treat it. So yeah, if you've got type 1 diabetes, sugar can't get into your cells. What do you do? Well, the Lego story is about this. But yeah, what you have to do is you have to inject insulin into your body yourself. But whereas someone who hasn't got diabetes, their body is just naturally detecting, oh, there's loads of sugar, so I'll release loads of insulin. Oh, there's not much sugar now, so I'll reduce the amount of insulin. People with diabetes have to do all of that themselves. So one thing they have to do is they have to check how much glucose is in their blood, sort of 4 or 5 times a day, at least. There's a tiny drop of blood in this picture, and I won't show it to you, I'll cover it up. So this thing's called a glucose meter, apparently, thanks the internet, with this little bit of sort of paper sticking out the side. So you make a cut on your finger. Well, you don't make a cut, sorry, that's gross. You've got a special equipment that makes a teeny tiny little speck of blood appear on your finger, and then you put it on that detector strip, and then the little computer tells you how much glucose is in your blood, which is amazing, isn't it? So you do that 4 or 5 times a day. And then you need to inject yourself with the right amount of insulin to balance out what your blood sugar level is. So, I mean, we won't do loads of mathematics, it'll slow the show down too much, and we need to go to the Lego story. But if you've brought some packets of food with you, or like a can of food, have a look on the back where it says carbohydrate. Not carbohydrates with sugars, just the whole carbohydrate. You'll see there's a number in grams. And it might, like my black beans here, they've got per 100 grams and they've got per half a can. So if you had type 1 diabetes or diabetes and you were going to eat half a can of these beans, you'd have to go, all right, carbohydrates, oh, there's 19.6 grams of carbohydrates in there. My doctor says, for example, I need 1 unit of insulin for every 10 grams. So I need 1.96 units of insulin to be injected into my body when I eat this half a can of beans. But obviously, you're not just eating half a can of beans, are you? You're probably eating, I don't know, half a can of chopped tomatoes, maybe you're sprinkling some cheese on top. So people who have diabetes have to calculate how much carbohydrates they're putting into their body and then inject the right amount of insulin. It's amazing. It's so much work. I mean, just reading about this, completely staggered. Like, we all need to be giving people with diabetes so much support and respect. The amount of work that they have to do things that we just do without thinking about it. Like, I think it was the NHS website said, oh, if you go to a restaurant, then you might want to choose what food you're going to eat before you go. Maybe look on the restaurant's website to see if they've got any nutritional information so that you'll know how much insulin to inject. I'm like, no restaurant, surely, I've never seen a restaurant website where they've said, oh, by the way, here's how much carbohydrates is in each one of our dishes so you can choose. Like, no. And portion sizing, I mean, you have to get like, your brain must be incredible with like quickly working out numbers. A lot of these websites say, it sounds like a sort of scary thing to have to do, but eventually you'll just get used to it because the neurons will fuse that have to deal with those kinds of numbers, and you'll get more used to kind of eyeballing and working it out. But yeah, you just have to manually keep your blood sugar level at more or less the right, the sort of the target number all the time. I'm really aware that a lot of people who are watching this actually have type 1 diabetes, and they're like, yeah, we did know all this already, Lara. Yeah, we've been living with this. Anyway, I'm sorry. You asked me to tell everyone else, so I'm doing it. 'Cause if you're watching live, it's Diabetes Awareness Month. So when I keep saying like inject insulin, your experience of an injection might be going to get like a jab, like a vaccination or something. It's a totally different type of needle. So people who inject insulin have these insulin pens. So it's a much smaller needle. It's nothing like the sort of thing that you would get a jab with at the doctors. I mean, there you go. Like, if you know anyone with diabetes, get them to show you insulin pen. It's really interesting. Very quickly, I will talk about type 2 diabetes because they get mixed up and it makes people upset, like justifiably, because there's a lot of talk in the media and stuff about how to people getting type 2 diabetes. Most people in the world now with diabetes have type 2 diabetes. And this is, well, I was quite pleased with diabetes.org.uk. I was very pleased with them. I've used them a lot this week. Here's what they say causes type 2 diabetes. Living with obesity or being overweight, your waist measurement is unhealthy for your gender or ethnicity, or too much fat stored in or around your liver and pancreas, which can affect people of a healthy weight, as well as people living with obesity or overweight. I was really glad that they said that because I come from a family, just our DNA just means we just don't get obese. Like, it's just not going to happen. I can eat whatever I want all the time. I am never going to be really overweight. That does not mean that I'm going to be healthy at all. It's a very common misconception that if you're like, look like a healthy weight, that you're a healthy person. Really, the only thing I think to do is just to try and make sure that you're eating healthily, and then whatever your body shape, you will hopefully just, at least be lowering your risk. So type 2 diabetes is where your body probably makes insulin, like you are able to make insulin, but the key isn't working in the lock. Maybe there's too much fat like around the cells and that's stopping it getting in. The lock can just get a bit sort of tired of the key, like kind of, not really, but sort of how like if you come into a room and there's a really strong smell, after a while you get used to it. It's a bit like that. The key, it just sort of stops detecting the key. So that's usually what happens with type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes also runs in families actually. Although obviously like lifestyle and the amount of exercise you do probably runs in families as well, so it's difficult to tell. But yeah, a healthy diet and doing exercise can prevent type 2 diabetes, but it can't prevent type 1. If you are going to contract or like develop type 1 diabetes, doesn't matter what your diet is or how much exercise you're doing, you're going to get type 1 diabetes. It's very different with type 2 diabetes. You can change your lifestyle and not get it, basically. Yeah, oh man, it's really tricky, isn't it? I mean, eating healthily is so difficult because we're just surrounded by like packets of crisps at eye level screaming that they're sharing bags, even though we know that when we buy them, we're not going to share them with anyone. And little fruity roll-ups with cute pictures of bears on the front saying that they only contain fruit sugar, so they're fine, when they're not really fine. It's so easy to eat really unhealthily. I will say, researching this show this week, I've been eating much more healthily. I really have, genuinely. There's a few times when I've wanted some sugar and instead I've had like a big bowl of chickpeas with olive oil to try and fill myself up. So just staying aware of it, I think, talking about it is a good idea. Oh yeah, I think I might have led you into a common misconception. I thought this as well. It's not true that eating sugar gives you diabetes. That is not true. I know, I was sure that that was what it was, but it's not. But eating sugar can lead you to put on weight, and that can lead to diabetes. Right, whew. Very quickly, you usually come to me for the details, right? The stuff that you can't find out on like websites for kids. So I was thinking, this key analogy, it's not actually a key in a lock, is it? I better find out so that I can tell them what it actually is. A key in a lock is a really, really good description of what it is. Here's a diagram of the actual, well, I mean, it's not, is it? It's a model still, but like an insulin molecule. So this is the cell wall, say, of your muscle cell. This is the insulin receptor, which is the door. It really is a little bit like a jigsaw. The insulin molecule just fits really nicely into the insulin receptor, so like the key in the door. And then something called a cascade happens, like particles passing between other particles. And eventually the insulin receptor does kind of unravel and open up. And yeah, key in a door, chums, what can I say? I'm not going to go into any more detail than that. Let's go and do a Lego story, because I have not yet explained why I am dressed as a cow's pancreas. So we need to address that, don't we? Here we go. Oh, that's a bit zoomed in, isn't it? Zooming you out. Oh, thanks for liking this video, someone. Yeah, like and subscribe. Mustn't be embarrassed about saying that. Like and subscribe. Okay. Ugh, just get rid of this. Testing's quite heavy. 1908, and Canadians Florence and Harold Thompson have just had a baby. No, little Leonard loves to play on the Toronto beach near his home. An hour's drive away, at pretty much the same time, Frederick Banting, a quiet young man, is failing an English exam. Ugh, he'd rather be playing football, but he tries really, really hard, and eventually he gets to go to do an arts course at Toronto University. Yay! Which he fails. Ugh. So eventually he decides to study medicine and become a doctor. Can you tell I ran out of Lego heads that had glasses on? 1917. And little Leonard, remember him, is growing up big and strong. He loves to play football outside his house on Pickering Street. And Frederick Banting is not failing. Yay! He's been training at the Toronto Children's Hospital and it's going really well. He's impressed the chief surgeon and he's working as the chief surgeon's assistant. Now, the patients at the Toronto Children's Hospital would give Frederick Banting some extra money for doing his job, but he refuses to take it. He says, "It gives me a certain amount of pleasure to be able to help them, which repays me in a way that money never could." Ah. Leonard is starting to feel too tired to play football. He's losing weight and he's going to the toilet a lot. A year later, Frederick Banting has to give a talk about the pancreas to a group of university students, so he goes to the library to read all about the pancreas. He finds it fascinating. Turns out a German doctor has taken the pancreas out of a dog to see what would happen, and the dog weed out sugar. So scientists have realised there's something in the pancreas, which they're calling insulin, that controls the amount of sugar in the blood. And it could be used to treat diabetes, but they can't get it out of the pancreas. So at the moment, scientists have tried grinding up a pancreas, but the digestive juices in the pancreas, they end up killing the cells that make the insulin. So it hasn't been working. Soon after this, Banting is at home asleep, and he suddenly wakes up in the middle of the night because he's had an idea. He's realised that there's a way of killing the cells in the pancreas that make the digestive juices, but leaving the cells that make the insulin alive. And he scribbles a note to himself about it. We've still got the note. You can still see the note on the internet. It's amazing. 12-year-old Leonard often wakes up in the middle of the night as well because he's scared. He's been diagnosed with diabetes. And in 1920, having diabetes means you are going to die. Banting goes to see a professor friend and tells him his amazing idea about how to get insulin out of the pancreas. He goes to see a chap called John McLeod. And McLeod calls in his mate, Charles Best, a student who's really good at checking the sugar levels in blood. And they try out Banting's idea, and it seems to work. Wowzers! So by December 1921, another scientist called James Collip has been called in to help them to get pretty pure insulin out of cows. Regulars know that I do not have a Lego cow. By December 1921, Leonard is in hospital and it's not looking good. January 1922, and the science team are ready to inject their new, pretty pure insulin into a human. So they go to the hospital, and Florence and Harold Thompson are asked if they would be willing to let scientists try a new diabetes treatment on their son. And then they say yes. So on January the 11th, Leonard is injected. The insulin contains impurities and Leonard has an allergic reaction, but his sugar levels do drop a little bit. So Collip gets hard to work with his cows, makes a purer mixture, and Leonard is injected again. It's a success. His blood sugar levels drop to a safe level and he has 0 side effects. His medical records say the boy became brighter, more active, looked better, and said he felt stronger. Woohoo! So 2 years later, the incredible team are given the US patents for insulin. This means that only they can make the insulin. No one without the patent can make insulin. So they can charge people anything for insulin with no competition. These guys are going to be millionaires. What do? They sell the patents to the University of Toronto for $1. Banting famously says, "Insulin does not belong to me, it belongs to the world." So insulin is made in huge amounts, millions of lives are saved. Banting appears on the front cover of Time magazine. Totally uncanny, I think you'll find. Oh yeah, effort was made. Banting and MacLeod are actually awarded the 1923 Nobel Prize in Medicine. And they are a bit cross actually, because they say that their prize money belongs to the whole team. So Banting splits his prize money with Best, and MacLeod splits his prize money with Collip. Fixed it. Aren't these just lovely, lovely people? And that would be the end, except for a little side note. In 1920, while Banting was reading about the pancreas, Oxford University finally decided to let women get degrees. So a woman called Dorothy Crowfoot Hodgkin went to Oxford University at this time, studied chemistry, got a first, and ended up using X-rays to discover the shape of insulin molecules. In 1964, she got a Nobel Prize for her work, which greatly improved the way that diabetes is treated. Banting actually died in a plane crash in 1941, but in 1972, Crowfoot Hodgkin gave the Banting Memorial Lecture, where she said that his idea was so powerful that it changed his life and the lives of many others. Same to you, Dorothy. Here's to good ideas and not giving up on them. The end. I feel like I've just said a whole film. That was a lot, wasn't it? But I was quite pleased with this one today. It took me a while to get the dates right, jumping between them, but I really like that idea that Banting didn't... Well, I mean, I suppose he did know that it was going to save lives, but the fact that it actually saved like a real person's life very shortly after he had his idea is pretty phenomenal. Right, you lot, that is the end of my Lego story show about diabetes. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that if you do have diabetes, that you don't feel like I missed out anything really important. If I did, you can always message me, although, it's a bit like that. But at least, you'd be able to take your anger out on someone who should take it out on me. Okay, you lot, I'm going to go over to my Facebook page because you'll have noticed there's no comments when I'm on YouTube. But whenever I'm live on YouTube, I always say, if you want to, go to my Facebook page and put a comment on the top post. Then I will read it out at the end. If you haven't got a Facebook account, then well done you. That is the right answer. Facebook is rubbish, and I know that you're watching because I can see the number in the corner. So like and subscribe on YouTube, and I'll see you next week on YouTube when we talk about something else. I can't remember if I've said what we're going to... Oh yeah! we're doing mythical creatures in our all ages mythical creatures lessons at the moment. So I'm going to do the Sphinx next week. We'll do the Lego story show about the Sphinx. You know that big like statue in Egypt, the head and the lion's body? We'll talk about that because I haven't had time to put it into the mythical creatures show, but it works quite well with what we're doing at the moment about centaurs. All right, let's go and have a look at these comments. I should say, if you're new and you don't know how this works, you're like, why does this, what does this woman do for a job? This is literally what I do for a job now. I know. So I started streaming free lessons in lockdown. They went really well. People didn't want me to stop. I didn't want to stop. So I said, all right, I'll set up a page on this website called Ko-fi. And if you want to keep me going, you can go and send me £5 a month. And loads of you are, like the vast majority of you. I would never in a gabillion years have thought that I could just teach for free into the internet and say, pay me if you want. And you actually would. But enough of you are that it is my job. So I have got a first class science degree and a first class drama degree, actually. I don't know how relevant that is. And I'm trained to teach science in secondary schools in the UK. But now this is literally just what I do for a living. I just stream lessons for free. The printouts for the lessons are free. This isn't the lesson, this is a story show. There's no printouts for this. But yeah, I do like 3 different things a week. Printouts for them are free. They're all stored for free on my website for watching our catch up. And I just say pay me if you can. So if the number that I've said is like £5 a month. But you can support me with different amounts. And I send you nice things to say thank you so much, because clearly this is the best job ever. So if you support me, oh yeah, I love how this really fits in nicely with what we just did. If you support me with £5 a month at the moment, I send you a past copy of Theatre of Science magazine. I write Theatre of Science, I'm always writing Theatre of Science magazine in the background. It just takes me forever because obviously I do a lot of teaching and planning and I like to get it just right. If you sign up to support me, you're on the list to get it whenever it comes out. And I'll send you this past issue. So you get a compostable plastic bag, a home compostable plastic bag. So it's all about mould, this one. So you build the tray, put different bits of food in it, put it all in the compostable bag, watch the mould grow, hopefully, maybe identify it, and then you can compost the whole thing, just like bury it or whatever. It's got a beautiful comic about how penicillin was discovered, but Dorothy Crowfoot Hodgkin is in the comic. She's played by a worm, because Wormy is the Theatre of Science mascot. But yeah, if you were really concentrating in story time, Dorothy Hodgkin Crowfoot started studying insulin, had to take a break to study penicillin in wartime because millions of lives needed saving using penicillin, and then she went back to studying insulin after the She really earned that Nobel Prize. She's still the only female scientist who is British to have a Nobel Prize. The only female British scientist to have a Nobel Prize. Anyway, yeah, the comic's a bit about her as well. Quite a lot about her, actually. And if you support me with £6 a month, which you can do, I'll throw in this past issue, which is about Christmas trees, or pine trees. Doesn't matter if you don't celebrate Christmas. It's got this gorgeous bunting on the front, so you cut out the little triangles, you make these little pine trees that have got little pine tree facts on, and then you thread them with the beautiful string that I'm going to send you. It's got like a Christmas tree spotting guide, so you can find out what species of pine tree you're maybe looking at. It's got a gorgeous comic about the First World War and how a Christmas tree kind of caused a little moment of peace. Anyway, that is how I make money. That is literally the only way that I can do this job. So 1,000 thank yous, a gabillion thank yous. If you have Theatre of Science magazine in your house, you are responsible for this being my job. Okay, let's have a look at these Facebook comments. Jack, I love the Lego story. I knew a set of twin girls. One developed type 1 diabetes in her teens and the other didn't. Wow, exactly right. So yeah, sort of the same DNA, but different environment. Wow, that's so interesting, isn't it? Cool. And pray. No, your sourdough starter is called Lara. I'm not sure how I feel about that. What do you mean? Yeah, you take care of Lara, okay? Oh, hello, Yasmin. Did you know why the Nobel Prize was supposedly created? No, I did not know. I don't know that. Alfred Nobel invented dynamite. Eh? His brother died, but the newspaper confused their deaths and the title was something like The Father of Dynamite is Dead. And he was horrified that that's how he'd be remembered. Wow. So he changed his lifestyle to be remembered in a positive way. Ah, Wow, I didn't know that. That's so interesting. We should do a show about the Nobel Prize. Eve says, why the cow pancreas? Yeah, so do you know now why? Because they started off looking at the pancreas of dogs, but they needed like more insulin basically, so they had to get it from the pancreases of cows. Jack, obviously I'm a Pow's pancreas. That's a fun thing to say. Yeah, I'm a Pow's pancreas. That wasn't Jack making that mistake, that was me. I'm off for my pre-diabetic annual blood test today. Oh yeah, right. I didn't talk about, I meant to mention that there were other types of diabetes and then say we're not covering them because I don't have time. Yeah, I forgot to say that. You had gestational diabetes. Okay. I'm off my pre-diabetic annual blood test today after I had gestational diabetes. Like when you're pregnant, sometimes you get gestational diabetes. I thought it was fascinating that they looked back at multiple months of blood sugar through one blood test. What? Wow, no, I didn't read about that. We are punching and kicking the pasta. What? What? Iris, are you all right? You don't seem all right. Punching and kicking the pasta. What are you talking about? Why have you got pasta? I'm so confused. All right, Poppy. Very much looking... Oh, Poppy! Okay, hi from Poppy. Very looking forward to this lesson. I am type 1 diabetic. Poppy, I feel like you probably haven't learned much from this lesson, but hopefully you were there to check like if I got anything wrong. Which is different from type 2 because type 2 can be caused by obesity or diet and mine is caused by an illness and it is incurable. Unlike type 2, so I have to manage my blood sugars every day. So you are doing all of this like maths to work out how much insulin needs to be in your body. I am staggered by how much work you do just like casually every day. Thank you for spreading awareness about diabetes. It was also diabetes awareness on the 14th of November, so I painted my nails blue. Oh, that's a good idea. I also got diagnosed when I was 9 and have been living with it for 6 years. Whoa. So does it get easier? Like, do you start to kind of just be able to tell? Like, could you like go to an Italian restaurant and look at a plate of pasta and be like, I know how much this is going to be? Or do you still need to look it up? All right, Arthur, my uncle has just found out he probably has diabetes. It runs in his family. So he took a blood sugar test to see where he was sitting. My mum was oh yeah, okay. Oh, wow, okay, yeah, your uncle does have quite a high level. So, oh yeah, Arthur, it was quite interesting. I was reading about pre-diabetes because, like, if you are at risk, if your sort of lifestyle is putting you at risk of type 2 diabetes and your blood sugar hits a certain level, the doctor might say to you, you've got pre-diabetes, which means sort of if you don't make some changes, you're going to get type 2 diabetes. There's some sort of interesting stuff about how pre-diabetes, like, maybe it's not actually a thing. It's not a sort of, there's no exact level that means, oh yeah, that's pre-diabetes. And it's almost, I think, I read a few things that said, it's just a useful thing to say because it makes people feel like it's a bit of a wake-up call. If you just say, oh, you might get diabetes, that doesn't really go in. But if you say, you have a condition called pre-diabetes, so if you don't make changes, then it'll get worse. That sort of, it's more likely to make people change their lifestyle. Changing your lifestyle is so hard though, right? Lana or Finley, both. We have celiac disease, which means that when we have gluten, our body fights itself. And that's an autoimmune disease as well. Maybe you should talk about that one day. Maybe I should. That would be a really good one to talk about. Oh yeah, and sourdough starch would have been a good one for that. Because gluten as well, isn't it? Yeah, okay, yeah. No, we'll do that. We'll have to do that later on so that we don't bunch up all the autoimmune diseases together. But yeah, you're right. My sister-in-law would like me to talk about that. All right, Lewis, hello, and Lorette, hiya. All right, Sasha and Amelie, you had a little science day, loving it. Hello, you two. Hello from Ellen, and her mum got to listen to this one. It was super interesting. Oh, that's nice, thank you. Yeah, I definitely learned a lot. Like, I'm a little bit embarrassed about how little I knew about diabetes. Casper and Iris, Arthur and Abba, Ezra, River and Maple, hello. Apparently the pancakes are part of the science morning routine. Mum does add flax seeds for fibre. Come on. Oh, and honey instead of syrup. Thank you. That's another thing I was supposed to say, actually, that honey still counts as sugar. I mean, like, it's totally delicious and it's slightly less processed. But again, yeah, if you've seen a recipe that says, like, oh, it's sugar-free because it's only got agave syrup in it or whatever, or honey, then it is still sugar. Oh, that looks amazing. You got loads of fruit there. You got loads of fibre in that. And it looks really tasty. I'm just going to show everybody because it looks amazing. That is completely nutrients plus sugar plus fibre, isn't it? And Edmund was on this morning showing me pictures of his croissant dragons that he made. I'm going to need to go and have third breakfast after this. Hello, Ramona. No, it was your friend that suggested the subject. Ramona is type 1 diabetic, and your friend suggested the subject. Thank you. Like, really thank you. I have to say, this show was a lot more effort to research than other shows because, you know, if I just like look up facts about badgers and then I miss one out, people don't get really cross. Whereas a lot of the adults were like, you have to tell them about this. Make sure you tell them about this. Don't mention this. And I was like, oh God. So it took a lot more time to prepare because I was really worried about missing out something important. But yeah, it did sort of also make it a more useful show, didn't it? Kind of. Like, I feel like we should do more of this sort of thing. All right, Kai, I looked up a Lego cow and found one, but it cost 20 quid. 20 quid for a Lego cow when you could just stick the word cow to a horse? Pfft, no way, Kai, I'm not saying that. We'll wait. A Lego cow will come to me when I need one. I mean, I do need one, but I'll just keep looking out for one. I'm sure it'll happen. All right, Jancy, Daniel and Daisy and Jay. Yeah, okay, the photos that you sent this morning were actually of the unicorn fish and the bearded dragon that you actually saw yesterday. That's amazing. Hey, Granny and Grandad. Yes, Thomas and Isabel, you got your Granny and your Grandad watching. Watching too, as they are interested to learn more about this. Nice. They love you and would love a shout out. Oh, that's nice. All right, Granny and Grandad. All right, Grandad and Granny. Yeah, having a good time? Yeah? Living healthy lives? Good? Oh, that's nice. Our pony has pre-diabetes, diet controlled. Your pony has pre-diabetes? How does that work? Is that people like, what? It's a cute pony. Got pre-diabetes. Oh, so it's on a strict diet. Good for you. Hello, Alice. I mean, at least your pony can't sort of walk past like grab bags at eye level in the supermarket, can it? So that's a bit good. No, Alice, it's your first live lesson from me. That is so cool. Also slightly embarrassing that like the first time we meet, I'm dressed as a cow pancreas, but it's mainly cool. That's really cool. Hello, Alice. Welcome. All right, Olivia. So excited because you've got both. You're type 1 diabetic and your nan is type 2. Well, let me know if I missed anything out that you think it would be really important for me to cover. Didn't talk about hypos, did I? The NHS website mentioned hypos, where you, trying to remember the notes, it's where you've actually got too much insulin, isn't it? If you have a hypo, you can get a bit sweaty and a bit not right, and it's because there's too much insulin, so you need to eat some sugar to balance it out. That's why if someone's diabetic and they're having a hypo, you might see them like quickly grabbing some sugar. This is my squirrel's cross snail. Yes, Finley, from the All Ages lesson, we were talking about why don't you get like squirrel snails running around, because all animals are just free to reproduce with each other. Squirrel, snail, wow. I mean, when you put it like that, it seems totally reasonable. Snail plus squirrel by Finley. Look at that. Come on, surely that's an animal. That should be an animal. You just made a new superhero. I don't know what its powers are. It's like sliming things and shouting angrily at magpies. You should please follow that up. It's a squinail, and it deserves to have its own TV show. That's awesome. All right, so moving on. Alma says she loved it. She has a friend with diabetes and she now understands. Oh, Alma, thank you. Okay, that's totally what this show was for, wasn't it? Yes, so that when a friend says, I'm diabetic, you can go, oh, dude, I know what that means. And I'm going to support you. Hi, Ed. Ed's just sent me 2 gifs of cats, which are really cute and funny. Bye, Ed. All right, Jacob. Hello. Oh, bye-bye. Boo. Oh, it's very sweet. Just looking at like many. Sasha and Emily are very good with the gifts. These are super cute. Thank you, Sasha and Emily. Anyone else? Oh yeah, there's Charlotte. All right, Charlotte. Hello. Who isn't Charlotte, but you know what I mean. Oh no. Oh yeah, we should do yew trees. Sebastian Humphrey showing off the Christmas tree. Yes, I'm so jealous. We haven't got our Christmas tree up yet. We keep saying we need to tidy the house so that we can fit the Christmas tree in, and then we do the basic level of tidying, like picking the stuff off the floor and emptying the dishwasher, and then we're all tired and sick of tidying. I need to get to next level tidy. Look at this. I'm just like, because I'm a middle-aged person, I'm just admiring the colour of your walls. Oh, I thought that was I was like, that's a weird picture. That painting looks exactly like my set of scales and my mug of flour. That's because it's the telly. I see what you did there. That's clever, isn't it? Oh, that's really clever. Yeah. Shall we do the science of yew trees? That's a great idea. That is a really good idea. We're getting to the point where we can do some like wintry, Christmassy topics. I've got European versus American robin on my list here of shows to do. That's a really good one as well. Yeah, right. Yeah, yew trees. Let's do them soon. Yeah. Yeah, because they're really interesting. Because it's not a berry, it's an aril, and most of it is deadly poisonous, apart from the bit that... Anyway, no spoilers. Yeah, we will do that. That's a good idea, Sebastian Humphrey. All right, you lot. I'm going to refresh because it's really annoying when I say, oh, I'll read your name out at the end, and then you find out and you go to my page and you comment, but I've gone. And also, some of you might have answered some of my questions about diabetes, so let's have a read. Do, 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 do. Ba, 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 bum, ba, bum. This is my holding music. Do, 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 do. If you don't have the right Lego piece, just Lara it. Exactly. Penelope wants to know if homemade smoothies still have fibre in. Oh, Penelope. Oh, that's a brilliant question. That's a really brilliant question. So basically, if you break up fruit, that kind of like turns it into free sugar. It's not, it sort of releases the sugar, if you like, so that it's just free. So it might as well be spoonfuls of sugar. So, I mean, I'm not a nutritionalist or a biologist or a scientist, but I think basically the more you destroy, the more the fabric of the fruit, the worse it is for you, the freer the sugar is. So, like, a bowl of sort of mashed up fruit would be better for you than a smoothie. And a smoothie that's got a few lumps in for you would be better. But I don't want to teach you that you shouldn't have smoothies, because smoothies, they have got sugar in, but they're also absolutely chock full of all the nutrients that you need to keep yourself healthy as well. And in my family, there are certain people who, like, if they drink a smoothie, I am delighted, because they're not going to get those nutrients any other way. So I suppose the only thing that's useful to think is, if you've had like a massive smoothie, and you're thinking about having some chocolate, be aware that you've already had quite a lot of free sugar, I guess, is the best way to do it. If you're like roughly totting up in your head, can I have that donut now? Or shall I save it to tomorrow, for example? Healthy eating with Laura from Theatre Science. Mum to Ramona. Oh, here we go. I am Mum to Ramona, age 11, diagnosed with type 1 at age 7. Okay, only thing you missed. Thank you. Only thing you missed was DKA, diabetic ketoacidosis, which is the outcome type 1 is left untreated, fatal if not dealt with. Okay, I didn't sort of, like you can see, I didn't, because everyone's in different places on their diabetes journey, I sort of didn't want to go into too much what happens if it isn't treated. I did say that it couldn't be cured, didn't I? But yes, thank you. Interesting fact. Yes! Oh, I meant to mention that as well, thank you. There is an app called Carbs and Cals, which features restaurants and cafes with their carb count. P.S. We check blood way more than 5 times a day. Okay, yeah, that's the minimum, isn't it? Feel very seen, thank you. Oh, that's good. And Ramona loved it. Thank goodness. I was a bit worried that people like Ramona would be like, yeah, yeah. So that's good that you loved it. Yes, there are apps now, aren't there? That I wonder if the app, using the app for carb counting is a bit like using SatNav. Like, because we use SatNav in our car all the time now, we can't find our way to even very simple places near us without using the SatNav. Is it the same? Is it better to not use the app so that you get used to working it out? Or is it better to... Anyway, I suppose that's opinion, isn't it? And not facts. Different people are going to feel different things. Thank you, this is so good now. A lot of people can know about diabetes and will understand it more. Exactly, yeah, that's true, isn't it? It is good. Because I feel like now if someone told me that I had diabetes, I'd be like really upset and annoyed, but I would be less scared than if I hadn't seen this show, because I would at least understand what that means. There wouldn't be the fear of not knowing, because not knowing is a big source of fear, isn't it, a lot of the time. Oh, come on, you guys with your little gifts. There's the Nobel Prize fact, which is very cool. There's a picture of a little hedgehog, which is also totally adorable. Oh, look at Alma and Eve talking to... Hi, Alma and Eve. Thanks for suggesting this topic. Oh, that's nice. You're all chatting to each other. Kai with his massively expensive Lego cow again. Alice again. Have we got... I think we've done all the comments, have we? There's Arthur. There's Charlotte. Casper and Iris just punching past her. I still haven't worked out why. There's Lewis. All right, I think that everyone has commented. Let me just see about if I go like all comments again and do a bit of a refresh. And then I'm about to go and start planning next week's Lego show, which is about the Sphinx. Sphinxes? Sphinx? Sphinx Eye? I don't know, I'll have to look that up. Right, let's see. If I click newest. Is that what? Okay, picture of a frog sitting on a wall. Okay, just a lot of gifs like from Kai. Please do snow fairy birds. What? Lana and Finley, what are you talking about? Snow fairy birds are a thing. Okay, so this is why I refresh the comments. Oh, that is not a real thing. That is not a real thing. No, it's not. Snow fairy birds. Are you being serious right now? That is photoshopped. Okay, right, yeah. Sorry, folks. Snow fairy birds. Yeah, that's got to go on the list. Snow fairy birds. Oh, this list goes down by, on average, like a third every week and increases by 4 on average every week. Look at this. This is my list of what the Lego Story Show topics we have to do. And it's ridiculous. I don't think diabetes was even on the blooming list. So I can't even cross anything off this week. Anyway, we'll get there. Come here, you lot. Right, I'm going to go, but, you know, that was important. I needed to read that comment about snow fairy birds. Can you do reindeers versus robins? Olivia, with it's the first thing on the list, so I want to do American robins versus European robins, so that I can cross it off the list, okay? Oh, there's Penelope's excellent question about smoothies. Okay, right, good. Okay, I think that's everyone. I'm really sorry if you've left in the comment and I haven't replied because I haven't seen it. I'm going to go. I will see you all very soon. Thank you so much for supporting me, I should say, like with actual money, so that I can keep doing this job. I will send you some very nice things in the post, some rainbow glasses and some magazines. If you do sign up, I keep forgetting to say this, if you do sign up, one of the things you'll get in your little welcome pack is some rainbow glasses that make you see rainbows. And tell me how many children are in the house so I can send you enough rainbow glasses for each child. Okay, right, I'm going to go. Thank you so much for all your support and your likes and your comments. Thank you for liking and subscribing. All helps me to keep going and just makes me feel all kind of warm and glowy inside. I am going to go and tidy my office and feed my sourdough pet.